So it was interesting observing the last few weeks and really seeing the coverage of the Amazon rainforests, fires, and of course the precursor to that, the massive deforestation that is going on at a incredibly crazy rate. And of course, what's happening there is not isolated in any way. It's the same things happening in many different parts and regions of the world. And wanted to tie it back to kind of our modern society, what we value. We live still in a society where growth is determined by more production and sale of goods. And so kind of in that market logic, efficiency, whether it's like an access economy business where you're sharing goods, is not rewarded. And of course, advertising, the industry, I'm deeply entrenched in, is one of the main culprits for, over the last 100 years, really building this culture of consumption where like our whole lives, we define our lives, how we feel about ourselves, how we project ourselves to others based on like what we own in terms of physical goods. We're obsessed with it all day, all night, whether we like to admit it or not. It's kind of like we're starting to see the consequences in a much more profound way, because we're getting closer to that edge of what the earth, our basis for life can withstand in terms of just punches to the face on a constant basis. We're getting closer to that edge, so it's kind of as if it's like a backfire mechanism of this sort of culture of consumption, a society of wants that we've kind of really instilled over the last 100 years, mainly driven by the advertising realm, as obviously the realm that had to execute this cultural shift to grow our economies based on this concept of growth driven by consumption. And so, again, I think it's just important for all of us in the business for good space to like take a step back and really think about, how are we going to move forward, changing some of these structural components of our society, of how businesses run, how they're rewarded. Because, the way I see it, I work with lots of purpose-driven brands. Our advertising platform is all about helping purpose-driven brands take over. Obvious reasons for that. But, that's not enough. It won't be enough. We can no longer continue with a system where we're driving infinite and excess consumption. Our world, our earth cannot support it. We're vastly overshooting our resources that can be replenished. The future is going to see huge amounts of conflict and massive turbulence in terms of societies and populations due to effects of climate change, climate catastrophes that are coming, the water issues, you name it. And so, again, I think we need to continue to push even farther with how are we going to change this whole institution of business and how it's used to serve society, because we can't settle for marginal changes. We can't settle for fixing things on the edges. We got to get right to the core and change this whole system. There's no easy answers, but nonetheless, as every day, every week goes by where the issues we're seeing become more grave and more severe, the importance of us not seeking refuge in the marginal changes, not seeking refuge in just only what consumers are demanding in terms of like buying from purpose-driven brands, but really pushing the boundary to the level we know it needs to get to is is paramount. I mean, we're at that critical juncture, that precipice of sorts. We've got the people, we've got the tools, we've got the technology to change the way this whole setup of business works and how we can use it to serve the people and obviously maintain or reorient us towards homeostasis with the earth. So we got to keep pushing. So